Welcome to KTEK Webinar 3, presented by the KinderTEK team. In this webinar, you'll be learning about the settings to manage student users and some common troubleshooting tips when iPads don't cooperate. The Manage Users dashboard is where you'll find all management and reporting options for KTEK. You can access this dashboard by selecting a student from your roster, shown on the left. From here, you can individualize settings for that particular student. If you'd like to make setting changes for all the students in your class, you can select the cog at the top of the screen. Once you do this, the settings you choose will override any customized settings that have been activated for individual students. Only settings for learning mode and session duration can be set for the entire class at once. Selecting these opens a menu of options for each. These are the learning mode options that you can choose from. Sequence mode is made up of a predetermined track of activities that the KTEK team designed as the default pathway through KTEK. In this mode, each activity starts with a pretest, so it automatically adjusts to the student's level of learning and mastery. Exploration mode allows students to self-select activities of their choice. In this mode, students begin each activity with a pretest to determine their starting point in the activity, and student data will be saved. In directed mode, you as the teacher can select one or two skills that you want students to work on. Once the student has mastered these activities, the teacher can select new skills in this mode or select another mode. Screening mode takes students through all 49 KTEK activities in the test phase only. If students are unsuccessful in an activity, it will terminate quickly and move on to the next test activity. For more successful students, this phase could last several hours, so it would take several KTEK sessions to complete. This mode is most useful at the end of the year to check on mastery of KTEK objectives and/or generate an end-of-the-year KTEK report. Teachers may also choose this mode for new students entering later in the school year to determine where to start them in KTEK. If you make a class-wide mode selection, you can still go back to the Manage Users dashboard and make a different learning mode selection for individual students. The other option that the teacher can set for the whole class is session duration. Session duration refers to the total time students are engaged in KTEK activities plus reward time. Choices for session duration are 10, 15, or 20-minute sessions. Each session is made up of instructional time plus 1 minute of reward time spent in the activity center. Similar to the class-wide mode selection, you can go back to Manage Users dashboard and customize reward time for individual students. Now let's look at how to do this. When you want to individualize settings for specific students, choose the student from your roster on the left, then touch either Session Settings, Reward Settings, Explore Information, or Teacher Notes. If you select Session Settings, you'll be able to change the learning mode and/or session duration for a particular student here. Below those options, you can use the green-white toggles to turn other features on and off. The intro activity is a tutorial showing the student how to move objects in the app and providing practice in selecting and dragging objects. It will only appear the first time a student logs on to a new KTEK mode. The on-screen timer is the default setting that displays a numerical countdown timer which appears in the top right corner of the student's KTEK screen. If this option is turned off, a progress bar will be visible instead. If the visual indicator is on, a red hand or green thumbs up will be visible to let your student know when it's their turn to respond. If the visual indicator is off, no hand will be visible. If the audio indicator is on, an audible ding will cue the student when it's their turn to respond. Turning this indicator off will eliminate this audible cue. The progress path is another visual indicator located at the top of the student's screen. If the student touches the progress path, their KTEK activity pauses, and students can see what activities they've completed and what activities are left to do in the session. This button should be used for interruptions to a KTEK session, such as a bathroom break or teacher announcement. The session time will continue to count down, but students will not be penalized for a lack of responding. Other individualized settings include reward settings. Here you can change when students access the activity center, how much reward time they get, and the frequency with which they receive sticker awards. Activity Center options are either at the end of their session or in the middle and end of their session. Extended reward time can be customized to give students a little bit of extra time in the Activity Center. Finally, there are 5 different sticker frequency options. One is balanced across frequency, correctness, and time, or frequently based on correctness or based on time, or infrequently based on correctness or based on time. To see or edit student's name or ID, choose a student from the left column and then select Explore Information. You can make edits to student's first name, last name, or Explorer ID. Be sure to save after each change. Finally, to create notes related to individual students, choose a student from the left column and then select Teacher Notes. Notes are linked to individual student accounts. Notes are automatically date-stamped when saved. You or other adults can review all teacher notes on the student's iPad at any time. If you're using KTEK Pro, you can also see the notes using other KTEK iPads and the teacher website. If you need to add a new student to your KTEK roster, select the rectangular blue Create Explorer button at the bottom of the Manage Users dashboard. Fill in student first name and last name or initial. Explorer ID is optional. Notice that the student's passcode is auto-generated at this time. Select Create Explorer or Create Explorer and add another to save your work. For each student on your roster, a summary of progress in each mode appears on the main screen. To view more details about student progress, select the progress bar for the mode you would like to view. For example, selecting the top bar will take you to a report about the student's work in sequenced mode. You can scroll up and down to view student progress across the activities grouped by Common Core state standards. Other features have been created for student use in KTEK. When students touch the blue progress path, KTEK pauses and a new screen appears showing session activities completed, the activity the student is currently working on, and a random review activity if they finish early, and then the scrapbook signaling their reward time. The progress bar at the top of the student screen is where the visual response indicators show up and the timer appears. The bar also shows students how many stickers they've earned so far in the session. At the end of their KTEK session, students spend reward time in their scrapbook. Students can touch the icons at the top of the screen to switch between their scrapbook, play a matching game, or work on a puzzle. Make sure your students know that they can move stickers from the bottom of the screen onto whatever page of their scrapbook they wish and move them around as much as they want at any time. Now that you know how to manage student users and customize the KTEK experience for your students, let's look at some common problems that may pop up and strategies for solving these. If you select the KTEK icon and KTEK does not open and start, there are 3 things you should check. First, verify that the Wi-Fi connection is working by looking at the Wi-Fi icon in the top left corner of the iPad screen. You should see solid, full bars. If the Wi-Fi is working, then try restarting KTEK. To do this, first close the app by double-clicking the Home button and swiping the app away. Then touch the app to reopen it. If that doesn't work, verify that you're using your teacher email and correct KTEK password. If you tried all of these and still can't open the KTEK app, contact KTEK at the address shown. You may have a student say that their passcode doesn't work. If this happens, verify that the student is entering the correct passcode. If the student passcode is incorrect, provide the student with the correct passcode and try again. If the student passcode is correct, verify the correct teacher is active. The active teacher name will be at the top right corner of the login screen, as well as the KTEK welcome screen. If the teacher is incorrect, go back to Manage Users and log in to your teacher account. If a student can't hear KTEK, check the following. First, make sure the headphone connection is secure. Is the jack plugged in all the way? Next, check the volume and mute buttons on the bottom right corner of the iPad. Next, double-check the mute feature by opening the iPad navigation bar by swiping up from the bottom of the iPad screen. And finally, check whether the headphones or earbuds have mute or volume buttons that could be causing the problem. Another problem you may encounter is when KTEK is audible to others while the headphones are plugged in. Check that the headphone jack is plugged in all the way. If so, then turn the volume down. Just like with all technology, KTEK may occasionally crash or freeze. Rest assured that student progress data is saved regularly throughout each session so you won't lose student data. This chart tells you whether a behavior is a crash or whether it's a freeze and gives you suggestions on what to do. A crash occurs when the app closes unexpectedly. If that happens, reopen KTEK and log back in. The student session will resume where it left off. If the app freezes, that means that the app is still visible, but it stops responding. If this happens, double-click on the Home button, swipe the app up, and log back in. Again, the student session will resume where it left off. If the app crashes or freezes, we want to know right away, so please report these and other technical difficulties to the KTEK web address shown. Be planful in setting up KTEK for student use. We want students to be successful while engaging in KTEK learning, and we want the technology to be a support for you, not a distraction. We recommend that you strategically place the KTEK app icon on the iPad so students can easily find and open the app. We also recommend that you teach students behavior expectations specific to using iPads. This includes when and how to use KTEK, how to correctly open, use, and close the app, and what to do if they encounter technical difficulties. Lastly, we've mentioned a feature called guided access. If you have students frequently exiting KTEK and exploring other apps on the iPad, you might want to enable the guided access feature that iPads offer. More information about this feature is available in our handout and on our website. Please see our website for additional frequently asked questions. We hope this webinar will help you utilize the features of KTEK to more fully individualize and customize the KTEK experience for your students.